Bum, bum, bum. We are now live. And good God, I'm actually almost ready, which is rather scary. Then again, that does come rather handy when you don't have any guests. Thanks indeed to the 4 or 5 people that agreed to come on the show and then didn't at the last minute, either because, well, one of them is no longer attending said festival next weekend, but also there was 1 or 2 that just have other things on their mind, which is understandable. This week has been a distraction, hasn't it? Yeah, safe to say. However, it is 6 o'clock on its way, and we are going to be doing this. And hopefully you've got yourself a notification to join us. Nobody joining us just yet, which means, once again, either people are a little distracted, not exactly paying to their phone, or indeed curled in the fetal position. We shall discover which is which when we get started. No idea how long this show is going to be today because of the missing guests. However, if you are a exhibitor or attending Thought Bubble next weekend in Harrogate, let me know. Jump in on the comments. And yeah, let me know if you'd like to come on perhaps and sell your wares. Let people know where you're going to be when it comes to the actual convention itself, because my word, it's a busy show. It really is. But yeah, hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 people joining us. I think it's just a lot of people have just been very distracted, and if anything, I am doing this particular podcast to distract myself. It's been a tough old week for numerous reasons, but of course, events on a global scale. If you are somebody who doesn't necessarily want to hear about politics, good news. I'm definitely going to keep that on the down low this weekend and this particular show. But don't be at all surprised if I make a comment or 2 throughout the course of the next show, because, well, it's something that affects us all, doesn't it? Other than that, welcome along to Talkin Con, cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. I'm about to go and get my brew, and we will get started with a nice little preview of a show that I have been looking forward to for quite some time. And also we're going to talk about a show we've just been to. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about on Talkin Con. Hello there, everybody. Welcome along to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Leonard, and this is the show where each and every week we talk comics, Comic-Cons, and all the stuff and nonsense we get to enjoy at such shows as a distraction from real-world things, which I think we're going to be seeing more of. I get the feeling we're going to be seeing more people embracing fiction, Comic-Cons, comics, books, art, literature, as a way of moving through and dealing with real world things, whatever way you voted this time round. If you are watching from the States, this is a politically ish free zone. I mean, I put my own feelings forward. So it's not going to be entirely politics free, but that's because it affects on a global scale. So if you have been affected by this previous week's events, well, it's understandable because I think a lot of people have. And I understand you, I see you, and as I've been saying on my socials, on Threads and on Blue Sky, if you feel that you need to scream into the void and you want somebody to scream back for you, not necessarily at you or with you, but just someone to kind of empathize, my DMs are open. Find me at Englishman SDCC, certainly on Blue Sky, where DMs are available, or you can message me on Threads and mention me, or you can find me on Facebook, an Englishman in San Diego, and of course, just message. Just let me know, and I'll be there for you if you want to say a few words, and make sure that it doesn't actually reach the wider world. There are one or two people when I put this out earlier on in the week about just being a voice for you, and there were one or two people who absolutely cannot say anything because of their position in the world and what they do for a job, and the people that they speak to. However, they wanted to say something to somebody, so I was there, and hopefully I helped in my small way. A couple of things to talk about, and certainly one that I really should have gotten myself ready for, because it's a big thing. We've got ourselves a date for the returning registration. No, it's not. It's the open online registration, sorry, for Comic-Con 2025, which obviously got held a few weeks back, and it didn't necessarily go to plan. I mean, we can talk about dumpster fires. I mean, we've got Andrew English who's joining us. Hello from London. Hello, Andrew. And saying, because Fax is a dumpster fire. It was, yeah, it was. It's been a dumpster fire. And indeed, he's reminding as well that London Film Comic-Con happening next weekend. So it's going to be a busy old weekend for shows here in the UK and from both sides of the spectrum as well. But no, open online badge registration has been rescheduled, and the email that came through was particularly telling, which we'll get into. But we'll do this first and dive into what we actually know, what our actual facts are, which are the open online registration for CCI 2025 attendee badge sale. It is next Saturday, November. No, it's not. The weekend after. Tell a lie. So LFCC and Thought Bubble next weekend, and then the weekend after that is indeed the badge sale. Again, happening on the Saturday. Opening up the doors a little early. They would usually be opening, I believe, the doors at no, it's 8 o'clock. No, it's 8 o'clock Pacific. The Hewitt waiting time or waiting room will be opening this time at 7:30 a.m. So an hour and a half ahead. Now, what that is all about, I'm not entirely sure. Whether it's a case of CCI and Hewitt just doing their best to kind of make sure that everybody is in and that they can get a proper sense of the weight that is going to be plowing through their doors, which, as always, we seem to feel that Hewitt and CCI do not seem to appreciate the sheer popularity of their event. They seem to kind of work in this strange bubble where nothing is. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. There's only a couple hundred. Don't worry about it. There's more than that. And yeah, but an hour and a half when it comes to the waiting room this time round. Opening at 7:30 a.m. Pacific. So that's 3:30 here in the UK. Sales starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 5 a.m. In the UK. Making sure you enter the waiting room prior to that 9 a.m. And then anyone with a valid and confirmed Comic-Con member ID is available. Now, that is a pretty big point, considering that they posted this online, at which point everyone who I kind of looked at and spoke to suddenly just went, Oh, really? What's the process for this? It's almost like people who have never been to Comic Con or want have been sort of like real kind of like naivety about the whole process seem to come out of the woodwork. Now, that's all well and good, considering that if anything that the last 7 days has taught us, naivete is a default standard for a large percentage of people. It's still it's a little bit shocking to me on occasion that we still don't know what how to actually get our badges, which is so weird for several people. But there we go. We did have an email which I'm just trying to pull up so I can read it out to you. But the email that got sent through was also particularly telling. Here we are. So, important details. Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, time 9 a.m. Pacific, through the member ID portal with a virtual waiting room opening at 7:30 a.m. PST. For those who have participated in Comic-Con 2025 open registration on October 26th, so yeah, not that long ago now, and boy, it feels like an age, doesn't it? Sincerely apologize for the frustration experienced during the bad sale. Our registration companies, which is Qit, dedicated team has been working around the clock to identify and resolve the anomaly. We are relieved to learn their engineers have made critical infrastructure and stability improvements to the process. Does this mean additional buffering? Does this involve more RAM in the gates? Does this involve just adding an extra zero to the whole randomization processing section? However, whatever they say they've done, again, as on Tuesday last week, I'll believe it when I see it. With these updates in place, we're ready to move forward with the open registration badge sale now scheduled for Saturday, November 23rd. Those affected on October 26th, please note this is a new registration date for a fresh start. Everyone will re-enter the process from the beginning with a new randomized queue. Thank you for your patience and understanding during this challenging situation. We can truly appreciate your continued support. We'll give you our support when things work. So we're not there yet, kids. Let's just see what they're actually going to be doing. However, exactly the same process as before. Enter the waiting room via the member ID account on the member ID portal, and then prepare for the sale. We've got ourselves an hour and a half for you to enter the waiting room. Apparently, it's fully randomized from that hour and a half, wherever you join from the minute one to a minute out from the actual waiting sale opening. But the moment that clock ticks over, then everyone who is in the waiting room will be randomized and sorted into badge sale process. So it's hopefully they've got all of this technical gubbins all sorted out. But there you go. That is our date. It is going to be Saturday, November 23rd. If you are new to San Diego Comic-Con and you are wanting to take part and participate next year, best of luck to you. Hopefully you get your the badge that you want and or indeed deserve. So there we go. All right, next weekend. London Film, Andrew English, did they say what happened to the ones that got through last time? Those sales apparently have been invalidated. So, by all accounts, those sales did not go through. They were not processed. They basically turned around and said, no harm, no foul, tapping out, which is a little unfair, but that is at the end of the day what they've decided to do, just start from scratch. And because you couldn't rely on the bank details, you couldn't rely on any details that has been processed. So I understand why they've decided to just go from scratch this time. So there we go. Yeah, best of luck with you if you are wanting to take part, but let's just let's see what happens, shall we? We've got ourselves we've got Neil Patel who's joining us. Neil is an absolute diamond of a bloke who I see at a number of conventions. And I look forward to seeing him next weekend, because no doubt he'll be heading to Thought Bubble. Thought Bubble is a show that started at the Leeds Town Hall down in the basement to a crowd of several hundred people. But it was very much started by a London kind of clique, very much a group of that Camden comics crew. So your just a very dependable crowd that you will see at every Thought Bubble. Kieran Gillen is one, the Pied Piper for the rest. So off the back of his popularity within the comics community, with Kieran and with Al Ewing, and indeed with Tula Lote's growing popularity in comics as an artist, that kind of brought more international talent to the show, where we definitely had a very well curated talent list of people who clearly had a lot of love for the crafts of making comics, from writers, from artists, from editors. They did embrace some of the publishers' response. So you had the likes of DC showing up. We had 2000 AD often doing, well, they do portfolio reviews. Image Comics rocked up. You have had Distillery involved for this year and the last year. Distillery, however, is very much a sense of where Thought Bubble aim themselves. They are not a show which sort of panders to the big two, even though they have a number of people appearing at the show which are big two adjacent. Thought Bubble then moved from the town hall to the Royal Armouries, just on the outskirts of Leeds, which is a dedicated convention space, which basically Thought Bubble outgrew. They did their absolute damnedest to kind of have the Royal Armouries, because again, if you were in the town centre, you are mainstream. Thought Bubble has never really pandered to the mainstream. They want to be very much an independent show, which is why the decision to then move into the town centre about 5-6 years into proceedings for a couple of years, and took over the town centre from the town hall to tents outside the town hall and littering the streets, the arteries of Leeds town centre, to a mammoth tent that was in Millennium Square. It speaks volumes that it was only there for a couple of years. Then frictions started happening between the organisers and between Leeds City Council, which led to the decision for Thought Bubble to move to the Harrogate Convention Centre, a dedicated convention space, which is in Harrogate, 40 minutes away from Leeds City Centre, and a very special kind of place. Thought Bubble is, well, Harrogate is a city which I actually wasn't entirely sure would be a good fit for Thought Bubble, especially when it really also embraces an egalitarian kind of vibe, when you have top tier international comics creative talent right next to and alongside people who have put together their first comic and stapled it together as an A4 zine. It was always going to be that level playing field, and that's something that they've really kind of embraced. The embracing of self-publishing and indie comics and that vibe, I wasn't too sure how it would work in Harrogate. Harrogate is a extremely conservative and rather affluent town, but it's affluent because it doesn't like to spend its money. It's a town which has a little bit of a chip on its shoulder because it's not York, and it doesn't have the history, and it doesn't have the fortitude that more established towns and cities at that top end of Yorkshire kind of has. However, it still has a bit of kudos to it. And like I say, the actual convention centre is stunning. It's a gorgeous building. And the reason why Thought Bubble has actually worked is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's actually a quite pretty part of the world. So if you are visiting from the likes of Chicago or Delaware or Portland or anywhere in the US, you come to Harrogate, even in November, when it's rather grey and grim, and I've got pictures of it being very mysterious looking at first thing in the morning. It's actually a very pretty part of the world. But the other reason is the actual convention centre itself almost becomes its own thought bubble, a very insular space. You go in there and you get nothing but comics. It is a pure comics event, which is why next weekend is going to be interesting when you've got something at the other end of that spectrum, when you have London Film and Comic Con, which is very much pop culture, very much embracing a younger crowd. We can talk about MCM doing the same thing, but London Film Comic Con, very much about signatures, about photo opportunities, bit of retail in there as well. They did do a great thing in the summer version of LFCC, where they really jazzed up their artist alley and really got a fantastic collection of retailers, artists, writers in the seats right in the center of the Olympia, and they kind of really put a real big spotlight on the comics side of it. Whether that stands is a whole other ball game, but we'll talk about that when LFCC takes place next weekend. But for a week of shows, you've got the 11th to the 17th, so basically from tomorrow you've got a whole bunch of very special events taking place around Yorkshire and around the kind of like Leeds Harrogate kind of way, which is brilliant. We could talk about those as well, because we've got a couple of very special events that are happening around the course of, let's see what's going on here. There we go, they're all in there. This is Andrew English saying he's going to try and dig out my GoPro. I've been spending my week sorting out my tech stuff. So I've got microphones, got the mic covers, I've got the mic, everything sorted out when it comes to me, my cameras, all of that up and running. But there's, lots of people that I want to speak to. We'll talk about the guest list in a second, but let's talk about the actual events leading up to, because it is the Yorkshire Comic Art Festival. Used to be known as Thought Bubble, the Sequential Art Festival, but they're very much leading into the Yorkshire show. We've got ourselves some fantastic live events that are taking place over the course of the next week, which it shows the variety of the actual the event of the show as well. Considering you've got things such as this, the exhibition launch invite, which is going to be at the Enter the Mulberry Tree and Fly Free. This is going to be taking place on the Thursday at the Left Bank in Leeds. Speaks volumes, this, and they always do their exhibitions and their the show launch in Leeds. So people who are kind of attending Thought Bubble have to kind of head to Leeds and then head to Harrogate for the weekend. But you've got this fantastic exhibition that's going to be taking place between 6 and 9 at the Left Bank. We've got ourselves Secrets of the Majestic. This one's interesting. Mercer Art Gallery on the 15th of November. So, at the back end of the week, between 6 and 8. Now, the Majestic is the hotel, which is kind of like the social hub for Thought Bubble. It's a mammoth, majestic hotel, as indicated by the name, which is actually a DoubleTree Hilton hotel. Not cheap, and anyone who stays there, you know it's not exactly a cheap hotel, but it's a grand venue to attend. And the toilets at the Majestic are incredibly well known, and the gents are opulent. You've got this black and white tile marbling. You've got, if you just search for Thought Bubble toilets, you will see exactly the reason why you don't just get the lads going in, but you get the girls going in and wondering, how come they get these toilets and we don't? So yeah, it's understandable that the Secrets of Majestic is an exhibition that's going to be taking place at the Mercer Art Gallery at the back end of the week. Now, we do have something on the 14th. James Tinian the fourth is going to be at the Leeds Art University on Thursday between 6 and 8. So Creative Networks and Thought Bubble bringing this face-to-face showcase with one of the guests, well, the lead guests of the show, James Tinian, of course, known for his work on Department of Truth, on a number of, well, just so many books. And yeah, he's going to be talking about not only what he's doing in the way of his books, but also a film which he's produced with Elsa Chaterier. That's going to be coming out soon. But yeah, he's been a busy bee. Also on the 15th, this is going to be at the Mercer Art Gallery between 6 and 8, exhibition opening for Adrift on a Painted Sea by Tim Bird and Sue Bird. This gives you an idea of the breadth of the talent that is brought to Thought Bubble. It really is such a wide spectrum, very much art based. Obviously, that's kind of led a little bit by Tula Lote, who created Thought Bubble in the first place, no longer involved in the actual curating or organizing because she's a little bit too popular nowadays. She's almost too popular for her own show. So at the end of the day, she's a guest at the show. But it speaks volumes of the drive and nature of Thought Bubble when you've got shows like this, Rainbow Age with Theo Parrish, which is going to be taking place on Tuesday. Early afternoon or early evening, sorry, 5:15 to 6:45 at Leeds Central Library. Yeah, very much celebrating the artwork and creativity of the LGBTQ plus community. And we can talk about this as well, the guest signing schedule, which gives an idea of who celebrates and who's there. So we do have Distillery that will be very much representing, but you also have Comixology as well, who have been partners with Thought Bubble for many years, with the likes of Tula Lote, Charlie Adlard, Jamelia Rouser, Ram V, and Greg Lockhart and Michael Conrad, all appearing as the guest signing schedule. Now, if I bring up a map of the actual convention, this is where things get very interesting indeed, because it is such a huge building. And not only that, but they're actually making life a little bit easier for attendees this time around, because what they are going to be doing is making it a dual entrance location this time around. We've got ourselves the Red Shirt Hall there, which is usually the main entrance to the convention. This time, however, you can actually enter through the traveling manhole, which is a slightly more ornate entrance to the left-hand side. But it means that there's separating out. You don't no longer you may still have the extremely long line leading down the side of Red Shirt Hall and down the main road. But this time, you can actually also come in from the left-hand side as well. So it's in and out through both sides. I think the main reason why they're doing this is because when you used to come into the show, you would come in through Red Shirt, through Distillery, through into Bubble Boy, and then eventually make your way through to Dead Northern Stage. So by the time you made your way all the way into the Traveling Man Hall, the audience had been kind of thinned out. So I think what they're doing is now kind of bringing both entrances to clear up that front entrance, but also allow a little bit more of a free roaming kind of vibe to the whole event. You've also got the Queen Suite upstairs as well, with panels, workshop and prayer room. Nice little space up there. And yeah, there's some good old presentation rooms up there. Always fun to attend. Some great panels taking part this year as well. But there we go. It's Red Shirt Hall. Let's go through the actual maps as well, because my word, the amount of people that are taking place this year is just absolutely immense. But this gives you more of an idea of the actual layout to the rooms. So let me just bring this up, because it has opened it up actually in a second window. Of course it has. Okay. I'm not going to go through it like this because, well, it would be impossible. But it does give you an idea of the layout of the room. You have those two center divides and then the outer kind of corridor as well, with a little bit of a side gap halfway through. I think it looks like they've got to try and separate it down the bottom end as well. But you've got, like I say, your main wall, you've got your second wall there, and you've got these three table stretches all the way through. And this is repeated as well in the second map, which is for distillery and for Bubble Boy. Bubble Boy is actually done a little bit differently. Also the layouts as well for the distillery as well is very much a case of maybe some of your headliners at the front in the red shirt hall, and very much minority, LGBTQ, women-led independent producers, and just indie publishers are very much given free reign in distillery. So that gives you an idea of a little bit how it's separated out. But there we go. A little bit of a different layout for Bubble Boy, which is the third hall, which is where you have you come in from this way here down the bottom end. So in actual fact, imagine this map the other way around when it comes to the layouts of the rooms, because you've got us. Oh, hang on, no, they've actually rechanged it. They've changed it around. I do apologize, because the kids workshop and the Phoenix and all of the kids friendly stuff is usually down the bottom end, but what they've done is move the cafe and seating area, and the actual Phoenix area is the first thing you will come through. Interesting. I'm up for that, because at the end of the day, it's good to have the next generation get their own space, which is cool. Center blocks of exhibitors, again up and down with the main wall as well. And then the interesting thing now is what they're going to be doing with the Traveling Man Hall, which at the end of the day, it was dominated by the Dead Northern Stage, but what will they be doing with the rest of the space, which was very much kind of left to its own devices? But now they are using it. They're and using it by all accounts with some real gusto. More exhibiting tables. I suspect these are going to be more mirroring the kind of exhibitors that you will find in the Red Shirt Hall. So you're going to get those two Red Shirt Halls, or those two kind of headliner halls in and meeting up into Bubble Boy for the headliners, as it were, and distillery for independent press. So that's the kind of layout. I'm quite liking the fact that you've also got a Dead Northern Station, which is dedicated space as well, with Traveling Man and more fantastic exhibitors here as well. So all in all, looking great. But who can you actually see at the show, considering that, like I say, as a comics-led event, this is one of the most prestige setups and curated guest lists that you will ever see in the UK, from the likes of, and this is where I'm just going to rattle name after name after name: Charlie Adler, John Allison, Steve Appleby, Junie Barr, Christina Basinski, Tyler Boss, Fernando Blanco from the amazing World Tree, which he's done with James Tinney and Forth, Nick Brokenshire, who's just been signed up for a book with Distillery. Whether that's off the back of being a fixture here at Thought Bubble is another matter, but man has got himself an established space. So yeah, Nick Brokenshire going to be appearing and showcasing, no doubt, some of that those new pages. Neil Cameron, Aaron Campbell, Lawrence Campbell, Elsa Chateaubriand. Good to have her back. Fantastic. Becky Cloonan. Let's try and skip a couple. Michael Conrad, Paul Cornell, Crom, Danny, Rufus Dayglow, Werther Delera, who I am very much looking forward to. And if you will be seeing me at Thought Bubble this year, that's the first table I'll be attending to, because I have a cover of a book which I am determined to get signed by Werther Delera. Michael Delanus, another James Tynion partner in crime, especially with Wind. Amazing creator, fantastic artist. Etherington Brothers, who are mainstays of the show. Al Ewing, good to have him back. We've got ourselves Matt Ferguson, always has his stall in the Red Shirt Hall at the back corner with Vice Press. So no doubt you'll be seeing plenty of the large prints that he does. Great artist indeed. Ivana Vilolopic. Brendan Fletcher is back, who's one of Becky Clune's partners in crime, especially on books like Motor Crush. Lee Garbett, Kieran Gillen. It wouldn't be Thought Bubble without him. Apparently he's also one of the people that will be involved with and DJing at the MidCon party, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. You've got Al Ewing going to be spinning at that particular event as well. Sarah Grayley, Abigail J. Harding, Ned Hartley, Jonathan Hedrick, Jock, Teeny Howard, Roger Langridge, Mark Lamming, Sienna Leong, Tula Lote, Alvaro Martinez Bueno is going to be returning, another James Tynion partner in crime. Nice House on the Lake, and of course with Nice House by the Sea, one of the headliners and someone who I'll be desperately trying to get books signed by this year round. Jamie McKelvey, Anna Morosova, who is continuing, the star is rising. And yes, very much somebody who's going to get a bigger table this time around. Anna Morosova last year, not many people knew who she was. This year, if you don't, you really need to get on board and find out more about her. Liam Moore, of course, Helen Mullane, who's going to be joining. You've got Dean Ormston, Hassan Osman Helhao, you've got Alex Packnadell, Mike Perkins, all of these legends. Good grief. Jacob Phillips, Sean Phillips. Who's the better artist? Well, we'll let that decision go. Stephanie Phillips, Emma Price. Good God, are we still going? We've got 3/4 of the way to go. John Reppion, partner in crime with Liam Moore, of course. Martin Simmons and Alison Sampson and Declan Shelby, basically three very gothic artists when they want to be, but Martin Simmons obviously on a roll with Dracula and also Department of Truth, and Alison Sampson, who's also got her own Department of Truth issues coming out, but she's also incredibly busy with promoting Sleeping Beauties, which is a book which she's put out. Slice Burry. Oh, Slice Burry is back. Yay! Good man. Rachel Smith's going to be joining us. Richard Starkings, Fiona Stevenson, Hamish Steele, Nathan Stockman. I'm trying not to miss too many people out. Lucy Sullivan, Zoe Thorogood. Very curious to see what she's going to be bringing, considering that her star is not only on the ascendant but absolutely stratospheric. With Zoe Thorogood as well. Fabrizio Tomasaro, sorry, Keanu Tommy, James Tynion IV, Ram V is back, Emma Vicelli is back, Christian Ward is back. Always a good guy. If you get the chance to go past his table, the man will talk your ear off, but he's just an amazing artist. What a guy. Neil Watson Lawrence, JL Westover, of course. Mr. Lovesing. Caspar Wingard, Chris Wildgoose, Rob Williams, Chip Zdarsky. And that's the thing, his name's right down at the bottom. Good God. But yeah, Chip Zdarsky is going to be there. So yeah, very much an amazing collection. Now, we do have some people that have had to unfortunately cancel this time round. So these only got announced a couple of days ago. Sweeney announced one because she was due to go to a convention in the US, cancelled that, and then a day after said, listen, off the back of that, I can't attend Thought Bubble either. It's a family matter, by all accounts. Wishing her all the best. Sweeney Boo, all the best to you. Ian Carroll, Isabel Greenberg, Kyrie Randolph, and Joanne Starr. It's a shame about Joanne Starr. I wanted to catch up with her and see how she's doing. But there we go. Just a phenomenal lineup. It kind of, as well, you'll get a real sense of what Thought Bubble is about. These are individual artists. They are not artists and writers. They are not people that just, they don't just draw within the lines. They are very much a creative bunch that pushes boundaries, pushes the medium forward, and does it on their own terms. If they are working, or if they do work with the likes of DC, Marvel, the big two, or even with Image as well, while they may work with them, it's a case of they always take that responsibility to then push the boundaries a little bit further within the boundaries of mainstream comics. This is a collection of creatives which absolutely get your attention. Charlie Adlard would have been a headliner at any show going, but when you've got the likes of Fernando Blanco, you've got the likes of Elsa Chaterier, you've got Werther Delera, like I say, that's where you're going to find me first thing on Saturday morning, right in front of that guy's table. Looking forward to it. So there you go. It's a fantastic show. I will be attending between both days, Saturday and Sunday, 16th and 17th next weekend. So if you do see me around with a camera, and if you do see me with my microphones out, hello, how are you doing? Listen, stop by, say hello, let me know what you're up to. If we've got a Facebook user watching, hello there. Excellent group of artists. It is the best. It really is, isn't it? It's just a phenomenal collection. There are one or two cosplayers that do show up. It's like I say, it does actually have a little bit of a broad spectrum when it comes to its audience as well, because of the caliber of artists. You do get hardcore comics fans, but because it is also celebrating that independent spirit, you get yourself a nice young collection of new fans and the next generation of readers coming through, all eager to either learn from the best or learn how to publish from those just getting their head through the door. I'd say that's kind of like the ethos for Thought Bubble, but truly hell of a collection. Let's have a quick look again at some of the other things that are happening. Well, you've got ourselves an idea of the layout there with the maps and also with the guests involved. But let's have a slightly more physical way of seeing how you can get into the building if you are going to be attending and heading towards Harrogate next weekend. Like I say, here at this front entrance on the right-hand side, that is where you would usually, let me just go down here, there we go. This entrance here would have been the standard in and out for the entire building. This front half of the convention centre is Bubble Boy, and then you have Distillery at the back. Oh no, let's get it right. That's Bubble Boy there. And then you have here at the back, you have Distillery. You have the Travelling Man room here, and then, oh no, get it right, Leonard, come on, Red Shirt room here at the back, and then you've got the Travelling Man here. Now, this time, however, here on the right-hand side, left-hand side, you do have yourself your new second entrance, so you can actually come from both sides. We have in the past had this really long line that goes all the way down the main road, and next thing you know, you're jumping on the line on Saturday morning at the back here somewhere, and everyone getting fed through. Now they're going to be coming a little bit further up and probably heading up the road to the left-hand side. So no, it's going to be curious to see exactly what kind of artists they've got in there and how it all's going to pan out. So there we go. What else have we got that I can talk about? Well, one of the things that kind of gets mentioned is the MidCon party. Now, famous MidCon party when it comes to Thought Bubble, because you have had the likes of Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing. Who else? You've had some amazing comic artists sort of putting together a Spotify playlist, jumping on a mixer and putting it together. And next thing you know, you've got this, you're finding yourself being DJ'd at by a comics god. And it's very strange to see it happen. But when it does, it does happen. It says here 7-12. I think that is because in the past, when they have done MidCon Party, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, the music suddenly gets turned off. But no, this time, because it is being held in a dedicated space. It says it's been put together by Tiny Onion. Tiny Onion is James Tinian's affair, his little effect, which I think he's put together with Elsa Chaterier, but I think she's got her own thing. So, something like it's more James Tinian, Tiny Onion, Tinian. They are putting together this MidCon party, and it's going to be happening between 7 and 12. And it's entry with Thought Bubble 2024 wristbands or lanyards over 18s only. Anybody with a Thought Bubble lanyard or wristband can get into this thing. It does have 3 floors. with by all accounts, nice bar roof terrace as well, and it's looking like it's going to be, this looks like it's going to be a fun event. But my word, is a case of how on earth are you going to fit that many people in that room is a whole other ball game. But it looks like it's going to be fun, and worthwhile checking that out if you are heading. It's going to be taking place at Mojo in Harrogate, so please do head along if you are heading to there. Let's have a quick look at what the actual venue is advertised like. It's going to be bringing up a Google Maps thing, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, then again, it turns around and says on the board it closes at 4 a.m. So it could be a case of the MidCon party goes through till midnight and everyone wanders into the main building, into the main bar, and continues to drink. Whereabouts is it? Well, as it happens, it is literally just over the road from the convention center. Mojo, I know where this place is, but it's a case of what's it like inside, because the only thing that I'm aware of on that side of the building is Witherspoons. So it's right next door to Witherspoons, but there's the convention center there, and you basically cross the road, go a little bit up the hill, head to your right hand side, and you've got Mojo right there. So you walk out of the convention center and into a bar, which is going to be, like I say, hosting some pretty impressive talent, DJing behind some towers. I am going to be there on both days, on Saturday and Sunday. Whether I will be able to do anything in the way of live streaming, unlikely, considering, like most other convention centers on the planet, it is a black box site. It's one of those things you cannot broadcast from inside of. There's no in and out when it comes to phone signal. But I am going to be getting the 360 camera out. I'm going to get my Insta360. I've got my microphones. I've got my GoPro, my Pocket Osmo Pocket 3, and I'll be doing my best to interview as many people as I can. If I can get that edited together for the Sunday show, I'll do my best to bring you some of those interviews on Sunday. But that's me. That's Thought Bubble, and it's going to be a fun show. Looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll see you there on Saturday and Sunday for one of the last big shows here in the UK, especially when it comes to comics. There are one or two shows down the line. So you've got LFC, London Film and Comic Con, which begs the question, who's actually going to be attending London Film and Comic Con when it comes to that kind of talent? Because when you've got a show like Thought Bubble happening, considering that you've got and this happened before with about 2-3 years ago when you had you had MCM up in Scotland. It was happening at the same time as London as Thought Bubble, and I actually skipped Thought Bubble because I turned around and was signed up with MCM to be one of their panel hosts. So we had Donny Cates and Brian Azzarello up in Scotland, and I was just going, this is killing me, actually. And I was saying this to Brian, this is killing me. Thought Bubble is technically my local con because I'm Yorkshire based, 40 minutes away from Harrogate. I would have been 20 minutes away from Leeds. And I turned around to Brian and said, why are we here? And Brian Azzarello, who at the end of the day, in an MCM environment where not many people really knew who he was, comics fans know, this bunch didn't really. And he turned around and said, I don't know what I'm doing here either. Speaks volumes. London Film and Comic Con, like I say, have been doing great guns with improving their comic standing, especially in the summer show. This is the page for the guest comic creators at London Film and Comic Con taking place next weekend. It's empty. That ain't good. That's not good. Does that mean everyone's up at Thought Bubble more than likely. Andrew English is saying, I have LFCC next weekend, then MCM Birmingham 2 weekends later. That is probably going to be the last two big shows here in the UK before we take a bit of a breather for Christmas and all of that palaver. But yes, MCM Birmingham taking place 3 weeks' time. But that speaks volumes. 1 page, no guests. Oh dear. Who else is actually appearing though? Who's going to be showing up at London Film Con when it comes to the actual guest itself? That is also empty. What are you doing, Showmasters? The show is taking place next weekend. For the love of God. That's not great. Okay. Never mind. Right. That's Thought Bubble. Hopefully you'll join us next week because I think that's going to be a lot of fun. What we're going to talk about now is 2 things. I usually do a comic of the week and I do a socials of the week as well. I'm not doing a socials of the week as such this time around, but I am going to do a comic of the week. The one that I think I've already showcased about 5-6 weeks ago, if not longer. This is when we first started back up with these Talkin Con episodes. We had ourselves a live report from the ALA in San Diego, which is the American Librarians Association, or American Libraries Association. Thank you so much indeed to Dan Berry for attending that. I believe he's doing it off his own back, and very expensive badges to get in through the door, but well worth it considering you had some phenomenal talent there, effectively giving out preview books which could show up on shelves in libraries, and you had graphic novelists there as well, showcasing that. Dan bundled up a whole big bunch of books and grabbed himself his own personal collection, but then just kind of said, Leonard, there you go, which ones do you want? And one that I spotted, which I will be getting myself signed next week, came out this week just gone on Wednesday. We called them Giants. Now this is the trade, and as it happens, it is come out as a hardback, published by Image Comics. This is a preview copy, hence the thing down at the bottom. Yep, there we go, preview copy. However, like I say, it's officially now out. Kieran Gillen tells a story with Stephanie Hans of what could be the rapture. Effectively, you've got 2 young girls who wake up to find everyone gone. Everyone has vanished off the face of the earth. The only people that are still left is some roaming gangs, including the dogs. And everyone's just seeming to be scrabbling for the scraps of survival on the streets of this rather on this domestic landscape, which isn't actually named, but yeah. At which point, a new arrival to the to the landscape is discovered by everyone involved, and it is basically the relationship between the young girls and the main young girl in particular, Laurie, alongside like I say, this partner in crime that she's got herself. But yes, giants have appeared in the world, and it's just a phenomenal book. What I love about it is it's so fluid and it feels so organic. It feels like water sliding over the page. It feels very, it doesn't feel locked down. You have a real sense of fluidity. Not only that's just down to Stephanie Hans' phenomenal artwork, but also just the writing as well. It feels not syrupy. Syrupy makes it feel like it's big bogged down. It feels like it's vinegar. It feels, this is more like silk, and it's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book. Clayton Cowles on colors, but Stephanie Han is just not done. She's just on absolute fire with this. And Kieran, I wouldn't actually say Kieran is the headliner. on this particular book. It's Stephanie who's absolutely driving force of it. It looks phenomenal, but it's still well written, and it's just a beautiful. It's a very easy read. It's very easy to just kind of skim through this because, like I say, it feels so organic and it feels so it slips down the throat like a really fine spirit. Do you know what I mean? It's not tequila. It doesn't have a bit of a bite at the back. It's like a very well-aged whiskey that just sort of like coats the mouth and slides down. So it feels very heady to read. But then you go back and you look at the artwork and you see what Stephanie's doing with her facial renditions, with the world creation, and what she's doing with the giants. I mean, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. Out as a collected book, and it came out this week. Do go and check it out. We Called Them Giants is my comic of the week. Right. And the last thing I want to talk about is a kind of a social of the week. Now, the social of the week I would usually do and save for those socials which have 3,000 or 3,000 and about 3,500 followers or less on Threads. However, the person that I'm going to showcase now actually has 8.5, which kind of begs the question, why am I showcasing this particular account? Well, it's because this Tuesday, Cheyenne the Geek, also Cheyenne Iwulu, has herself a Kickstarter that's going to be launching on Tuesday. Now, this Kickstarter is actually something that she's been gestating for some time. Based in LA, she's got herself a number of filmmaking friends together to put together something called the Comic Shop. You may get a sense of the likes of the Comic Shop in The Big Bang Theory. You may get a sense of the Comic Shop from Kevin Smith, that real kind of LA vibe to it. I'm hoping that we don't get a sense of nihilism that we got from the comic book shop from Big Bang Theory, that there's a little bit more optimism. I mean, that's one thing, the dropping of the ball I felt with Stuart with the Big Bang Theory. He was just always a perpetual loser. When we were introduced to the character, he owned the shop. He was a good artist. He could communicate and talk to people, not being socially awkward. He was just a well put together guy. And then as the show and series continued, he ended up being this loser that couldn't keep a girlfriend, couldn't keep a home, and ended up looking after the mother of one of the characters. It took a bit of the thing out for me of just, if you are wanting to run a comic book shop, you don't have to be a loser. That's what I'm hoping with this particular campaign. The actual show, like I say, is called The Comic Shop. And this is the trailer for the proof of concept that Cheyenne has put together for the show. See what we think of this.
Dom, nothing can go wrong. Not while my mom is here. I need to know that I can count on you to be my right-hand girl. Come on.
Yeah, you can count on me. I'll be your Robin to your Batman. But like Dick Grayson Robin. Smart, charming, and with a surprisingly fat ass.
That sounded kind of weird.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Stephanie Okeke, and I am one of the founders of OMG Comics. My parents were never thrilled about me opening up my own store. The biggest thing they'd say is, "There's no money in it." That was my impression of my dad yelling at me. Nobody gets into the comic book industry because they love money. They get into it because they love comics.
We're selling the cent for that. My idea. Patent pending.
I used to be ashamed of the way I was.
Okay, so we might not be the most normal bunch, but I like to think that our uniqueness and our passion for comics are what's going to keep the people coming in.
And here you go.
Thanks, man.
No. Thank you.
This is my calling.
Like that is what's up. That is what's up.
Is it just me, or is that poster doing the lean with it, rock with it?
I think it looks cool. It looks fun. Obviously, I would like to see maybe a few more characters involved to get a little bit more breadth, perhaps. But at the end of the day, it is a comic book shop, and there's only a handful of people that you're going to see. You're going to be more interacting, I suspect, with the patrons of the shop. But it looks like a nice, strong trio that are running the shop itself, and the actual idea I really like. I think it's just cute and charming, and I've been following this. It was one of the first video things that I saw when Threads. I joined Threads a year ago now, and Cheyenne just kept showing up on my feed and said, "Oh, this is something that I tried to do when the strike was on, or when I was busy last year." And what do you think? I think it's incredibly competent straight out the gate. Now, this is a Kickstarter. It's going to be launching next Tuesday, and it's got 385 followers. And I think if it gets a few more, it's going to do rather well indeed. OMG Comics, a shop that's seen constantly holding on for its dear life in a comics Los Angeles strip mall that's seen, well, better days. Comic store and its crew are fighting a constant uphill battle against the ever-evolving digital age, financial ruins, and their own incompetence. Interesting, but I'm liking some of the gags that I've seen in the trailer. Yeah, do check it out, because I think this could be something worth investing in, and kind of getting your head round when it comes to the it's something to see into fruition. I personally I'm going to be backing this, and hopefully you will too. It is Kickstarter.com/projects/Cheyenne the Geek. Nice username there. And then with hyphens is The Comic Shop, a mockumentary sitcom. Get it supported, get it bookmarked, and give it a trial. I mean, it's already kind of showing up at a couple of film festivals, so I suspect she's got the first couple of episodes at least all lined up. But now it's, I think, a case of trying to keep the full season afloat as a going concern. Give it a go. Just show some support for it. I think that's going to be rather cool indeed from Cheyenne Ilu out of Los Angeles. And that, I suspect, is me. Thank you so much indeed for joining us for today's show. We were hoping to have some guests who are going to be attending Thought Bubble and exhibiting. But, like I say, things have happened this week, which has knocked a lot of us for six. Hopefully, you are finding positivity where you can. Hopefully you're seeing some way forward. If you feel that what has transpired is a setback for so many in the US and on the world stage, I personally believe that the country showed its true face, that there is still prosperity and hope and love and compassion in the US, and I'm hoping that there's enough people out there that will just keep that kind of sense of prosperity in the grand experiment going forward. However, as has been demonstrated, they've got quite a fight ahead of them, and I, for one, will be doing my best to help where I can. Right, thank you so much indeed for joining us. Back again next week. Like I say, it's going to be either live from Harrogate or very, very shattered from Harrogate. It's going to be one of the two. Either way, it's going to be after 2 very, very busy days at Thought Bubble Festival next weekend. If you are attending, I will see you there. If you are going to LFCC, have yourself a great time. If you are attending a convention, tell us all about it. Go to my podcast, the comments down below, Englishman SDCC, or just let us know where you've been, what show have you done, what highlights have you had, what fun have you had at these amazing events, which we show as meccas for our fandom and our passions. So hopefully you can join us next week as we celebrate more, specifically Thought Bubble in Harrogate. And we also get ourselves all lined up for the badge sale for San Diego Comic Con 2024. Next week, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. And I will see you on next week's show. Take care.